Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the secrets hidden in plain sight within company filings. Today we've got a filing from Access Capital Holdings Limited and looks like they're getting ready to chat with investors. Let's see what they have to say. Before we dive in, if you're all about understanding what's really going on behind the corporate curtain with these filings, hit that subscribe button now. And hey, for a deeper dive and to connect with other financial enthusiasts, our Discord community link is in the description below, so definitely check that out. Alright, so what we have here is a current report Form 8K filed by Access Capital Holdings Limited. The date is August 20, 2025, and this type of report is usually for really important events that shareholders need to know about right away. It's their way of saying, hey, something significant happened, and usually it's not something that fits neatly into their regular quarterly reports. So the company Access Capital Holdings Limited is incorporated in Bermuda and they're listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We see they have common shares, which is pretty standard for any public company. Anyone can buy a piece of the company through common shares. But they also have something called depository shares, representing a 100th interest in a 550% Series E preferred share. Think of preferred shares like a special kind of stock. They usually pay a fixed dividend like that, 550% we see here, and they usually get paid before common shareholders get anything. It's like having a priority ticket in some ways. Now, this report is mostly about Regulation FD, which is all about making sure important information is shared with everyone at the same time. It prevents companies from giving special treatment or insider information to just a few people. So what they're doing here is filing a presentation that they plan to use for upcoming investor meetings. This presentation is attached as an exhibit, meaning it's part of this filing, and it will also be available on their investor website. Essentially, they're telling the world, hey, we've got a presentation to discuss our business, and here's access to it. This is totally normal when a company wants to update investors on their performance or strategy. The report is signed by G. Christina Gray Treffry, their general counsel and secretary. That's the legal side of things, making sure all the paperwork is in order and properly authorized. Now, while this filing itself doesn't contain detailed financial tables like a quarterly report would, it's signaling that those discussions are happening. These investor presentations are where the real narrative often unfolds. They'll likely be darting into performance metrics, growth strategies, market positioning, and future outlook. So what does this really mean for Access Capital Holdings Limited? Typically, when a company releases a presentation like this, it's a chance to either celebrate good news or to explain away less than stellar performance. They might be gearing up for a new initiative, a major deal, or simply providing an update on their ongoing business. The fact that it's being discussed with investors suggests that the information within is considered material knowledge for anyone considering investing in or already holding shares in the company. The incorporation in Bermuda is also worth noting. Bermuda is a common domicile for many insurance and reinsurance companies like Access. This can have implications for their regulatory framework, their tax structure, and how they operate globally. It's a strategic choice that many companies in this sector make. The common shares and preferred shares we saw mentioned are the core ways investors can participate in the company. Understanding the difference between how much dividend the preferred shares pay and the voting or growth potential of common shares is key. For any investor, while this filing doesn't give us the numbers from that presentation, we know the presentation itself is the key to unlocking those financial discussions. Looking at the broader context, Access Capital Holdings is a global provider of specialty insurance and reinsurance. They operate in a competitive landscape, and events like this filing are part of their ongoing communication strategy to manage investor expectations and attract capital. The presentation likely touches on economic conditions that affect insurance markets such as interest rates, inflation, and the frequency of natural catastrophes, which are all crucial for a company in this line of business. So to sum up, this 8K filing is essentially a heads up that Access Capital Holdings is about to engage in investor outreach using a specific presentation. It's not the raw financial data itself, but it is a very important signal about communication and transparency with the market. Now let's talk about what this means for Access Capital Holdings Limited. Based on this filing alone, we don't have the juicy financial numbers to dissect. This isn't a 10Q or a 10K, which typically contain the balance sheets, income statements, and cash flow statements we love to dig into. However, this filing is highly significant because it points to an upcoming dialogue with investors about the company's performance and future. Imagine you're about to have a job interview. This filing is like the company saying, hey, we're going to have that interview soon, and here's a hint about what we'll be talking about broadly. The actual answers to the tough questions about performance and strategy will be in that presentation, which is referenced as Exhibit 99.1. While we can't see the numbers in this document itself for us at Corporate Decoder, this filing is a prompt. It tells us to be on the lookout for that investor presentation, because that's where we'd find out things like how their revenue is performing, how much profit they're making compared to last year, are their expenses under control, are they growing their business effectively. We'd look for trends in their underwriting results, which is basically how well they're pricing risk and managing claims. We'd also scrutinise their investment income, as that's a crucial part of an insurer's profitability. For a company like Access Capital Holdings, understanding their book value is also important. This represents the net asset value of the company, and for insurers, it's a key metric. Are they growing their book value steadily, or is it fluctuating wildly? This filing doesn't tell us, but the presentation likely will. Moreover, we'd want to know their solvency ratios. Are they holding enough capital to cover potential claims, especially in a year with significant catastrophe events? The fact that they are presenting to investors means they likely have something positive or at least strategic to communicate. They are trying to shape the narrative. If, for instance, their latest results showed a dip in underwriting profit due to a surge in claims from a major hurricane, our presentation would likely explain how they're managing that, how their reinsurance protected them, and what adjustments they're making to pricing and risk selection going forward. We'd also look for any commentary on their capital allocation strategy. Are they returning capital to shareholders through dividends or share buybacks? Are they investing in new growth opportunities or perhaps making acquisitions? These are the kinds of questions an investor presentation typically addresses. The market for specialty insurance and reinsurance is influenced by many factors: global economic conditions, interest rate movements, and regulatory changes. All play a significant role. A company like Access needs to navigate these complexities adeptly. Their presentation would likely give us some insight into how they view these macro trends and how they are positioning the company to thrive. For us at Corporate Decoder, this filing is a signal that investor discussions are imminent. It's an invitation to analyze the company's upcoming communications with a critical eye. We'll be looking for consistency between their stated strategies and reported financial results. Are they walking the walk? To give you a hypothetical example, if their presentation highlighted a strong focus on digital transformation, we'd be looking for evidence of that in their numbers, perhaps in reduced operating expenses or increased efficiency in customer acquisition. Discrepancies here raised a red flag. Ultimately, this report is about transparency and communication. Access Capital Holdings is fulfilling its duty to keep the market informed. We'll be waiting eagerly for that investor presentation to get the full picture. Now, assessing Access Capital Holdings Limited based on this filing alone is tough, because as we said, it's a notification of a presentation of the presentation itself. However, the very act of filing this 8K and making presentation materials available signals a proactive approach to investor relations. This is generally a positive sign. The company operates in a challenging but vital sector, financial services, and specifically insurance and reinsurance. Its strengths lie in its global reach and its specialization in niche markets. These allow it to potentially achieve higher profit margins than more generalized insurers. A notable risk for any company in this space is the unpredictable nature of catastrophic events. A single major hurricane or earthquake can have a significant impact on profitability, so their risk management and reinsurance strategies are paramount. We need to see that presentation to understand their current financial health in detail. Are they growing? Are they profitable? Are they weathering industry storms effectively? The key takeaway from this filing is anticipation. We anticipate learning more about how Access Capital Holdings is performing and where it's headed from the materials they are sharing with investors. Alright, that's our quick decode of this Access Capital Holdings filing. It's a primer for what's to come. What's your take on why companies file these notification reports? Let us know in the comments. If finding the hidden stories in financial documents is your thing, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And don't forget to join our Discord community for deeper discussions, linked in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.